what was your first impression of Shubman Gill?
In the same match later on, कुछ ball के साथ हुआ था. He once again went to the umpire, told him that listen, this is my ground, behave. That's the Shubman I want.
Lots to learn. I think one of the biggest things the positives that I saw was the fact that how he took up the number 4 role. That was brilliant to watch. That I always expected him to become a number 4 batter.
Sai Sudarshan at 3, brought in directly from IPL. I'm not discounting his domestic form, but Iswaran, the India A captain, has been carried with the Indian team for 3 years now. If everybody is getting a chance to debut under Gambhir, he also deserves a chance to get a debut.
And it's no surprise that the pitches in England are going to be like this. It's not going to be like Australia. The very fact that he bowled only 150 overs, as you're saying, in Australia was because of the pitches.
The average age for India is somewhere around 29 and the average age for England is somewhere around 28. So you are not a young side.
It's time for the second episode of the third season of Sledging Room podcast. With me, Alan and King Shuk. Saurabh was not here. He's not here because he was too heavy to, turn up and come to office on a day when he expected the young India, the new India to do well. In fact, they could have done well. They perhaps should have done well. But in the end, it was a 5-wicket defeat in the first test of the 5-match series. The Anderson Tendulkar Trophy. Hasn't started well. I just want to dive straight into the topic, Alan Kingshuk. Is it time for a knee-jerk reaction? What do you think? Who should be held accountable? What went wrong?
I think, for me, I think the comments that have come in, like more or less everybody's been saying, oh, they've done well, oh, they did this, it's a young side. To be very honest, it's not a young side. I think the average age for India is somewhere around 29 and the average age for England is somewhere around 28. So you are not a young side. For me, I feel the whole management has to be held accountable for this. The kind of, I'm sorry I'm going on a little bit of a rant. Obviously, it's a good performance. I think the batters did well. Bumrah always stepped up. The batters, at least the top 5 did well. The rest was, I don't know what happened to them. Bowling wise, it was all over the place. And you cannot, how can a bowler like Prasidh Krishna, who has done so well in the IPL, concede in both innings have a economy rate of more than 6? Yeah. Have you not? Okay, the first innings was a thing that had happened. How can you not learn in the second innings the same mistakes that you are making? I saw a tweet yesterday that basically said he asked Shubman Gill for an extra fielder on the offside and then he started bowling on the pads. How can you be so naive about these kind of things? You're not playing, okay, you say that you're playing, having a transition period, a couple of defeats will happen. Okay, we can accept it. But this is the World Test Championship. Something that South Africa won, where they were making mistakes, but they ensured that it was not repeated in the second half. They batted well. They won it out of their sheer grit. Why is it not here? And what is the team management doing? Why are you not advising a person?
By team management, whom are you referring to?
I am referring to the coaches. It's the coaches as well as the players on the field. How can you not make a decision that, okay, I have put a fielder on for the cover drive and now I'll bowl on the stumps. That is baffling. That is simply baffling. And you cannot expect to win a match when you're dropping more than 6 or 7 catches. Yeah, that happens. Once it happens, okay, it is fine. The same guy making it 3 or 4 times, I think it's a lapse of concentration. Maybe he's not fully zoned in on the field. Tough chances, we'll still give the leeway. But 8 chances, 6 or... I'm not sure how many chances that they've dropped. To my recollection, I think it's more than...
8. It was around 7-8.
7-8. That cannot happen in a match. You're playing for the World Test Championship. You're not playing to be like the next England, who says that, oh, we are looking for moral victories. This is not the time for moral victories. And you call it knee-jerk reaction or whatever, there has to be a response in the second test. That is what I would say.
Kingshuk, you baseball fan, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling a little irritated, to be honest, because I did not like the discourse that followed the India-England test match. Like you asked, the knee-jerk reaction, is it time to take a knee-jerk reaction? I think the knee-jerk reaction has already happened. When you brought in Sai Sudarshan at number 3, Karun Nair at number 6, and Shardul Thakur at number 7, 8, whatever.
So who else would have come? Explain.
Okay, yeah, that's the whole point about it, right? So I think in terms of consistency, if you just see in terms of consistency, Nitish Reddy played extremely well in Australia. He was one of our best players in a horrendous series. He should have played in England
Ahead of?
ahead of Shardul. Because for me, in England, at least in these conditions, what we have seen is that you need 5 proper bowlers. You need 5 proper bowlers, which essentially means that you need a proper batter up top. One can argue that Nitish Reddy is a much better batter than Shardul Thakur. What Shardul Thakur had was experience of playing in India and probably is a better bowler than Nitish. He did not get to bowl anyway. Because Gambhir said that Jadeja provided much better control than Shardul in those conditions.
In the first innings.
So Shubman thought that let's not give him the ball. Fine, I don't have a problem. Sai Sudarshan at 3, brought in directly from IPL. I'm not discounting his domestic form, but Iswaran, the India A captain, has been carried with the Indian team for 3 years now. If everybody is getting a chance to debut under Gambhir, he also deserves a chance to get a debut. That's my whole point. Karun Nair at 6, I have a problem with that. I thought Karun Nair would be playing at 3. The perfect shield for perhaps Shubman Gill at number 4. That did not happen. He was brought down at number 6, which a position which I thought was more suited to Dhruv Jurel. At that position on a flat deck in England. He did brilliantly in Ranchi and Rajkot and Dharamsala, I think, against England at home.
Yeah.
But he was not given a chance. So for me, the knee-jerk reaction happened when the Test 11 was announced. It's time to follow your processes and figure out how do we support Bumrah, how do we support our top batters. Like you mentioned, Alan, that our batting did very, very well. Our tail messed up. How could the tail not have messed up? With Nitish Reddy in the bank. I was crunching a couple of numbers. So even I was talking to you, Akshay, about this, that let's see how many overs did Bumrah bowl in a 5 test match series before his body broke down. It was 151 overs in Australia. Could you guess how many overs he bowled in this test match?
19 in the first innings, if I'm not wrong.
25 in the first innings.
Then 19 in the second innings.
Nearly 20 in the second. So 45 overs. 30% of his load is already done. And we are first test match in.
See, that's why they kind of probably told that he's going to play only 3 tests. And it's no surprise that, the pitches in England are going to be like this. It's not going to be like Australia. The very fact that he bowled only 150 overs, as you're saying, in Australia was because of the pitches. The matches were over in 3.5 days. Nobody lasted more than 100 overs, if I'm not wrong. The pitches were, lively, unlike the Benjamin dead pitches that we are getting to see in England. As in, if you want to call this sporting, by all means, go and call this sporting. Yes, one team has taken 20 wickets. There's no excuse to India.
No, it's a flat deck that you have to survive for 5 days.
Yeah,
Simple as.
That's something
let's call it what it is.
Yeah, that's something that England have prioritized in their baseball approach, like how the subcontinent teams provide rank turners to oppositions. There is no, you can't call it unsporting. You can't blame England for this. But for God's sake, don't call it a sporting wicket. That's something that I want to point out here. I see, Kingshuk, you're saying how to support Bumrah, so how to take 20 wickets. Then how on earth can you play Nitish Kumar Reddy over Shardul Thakur?
So for me,
Shardul has proven to be a better bowler. You only agreed.
Yeah.
He took around 35 wickets in Ranji Trophy before this IPL, and he did decently well in the IPL after coming in as a replacement player. And he has the experience of playing in England. So if someone doesn't perform as expected, it's not the fault of the coach. Like, I want to point that out to you also. I am here to defend Gautam Gambhir. I'm not saying that Gautam has done so well. He has won in the last 9 test matches. Under Gautam Gambhir, India have won one of their last 9 test matches, if I'm not wrong. So that's a poor record to have. But like I said in the previous episode of the Sledging Room podcast, if you are giving a young team, if you're going through a transition period, that transition period has also fastened. It's not like, okay, we were prepared for this, because Rohit and Rohit at least, okay, there were doubts over whether he would play in England. We were looking at other openers, but Virat, not many expected him to go this early. At least till the end of this cycle, he was expected to play. And don't forget, when we are talking about, even Gambhir was asked in the press conference, like since 2022, India's ability to take 20 wickets has, reduced. That's not a problem only with Gambhir. Rahul Dravid also faced it at the end of his tenure. Because because of the injuries to these bowlers like Mohammad
Wait,
Shami and all of
Dravid's
them.
last test series is England versus India,
Yeah.
where India did take 20 wickets.
That's
right?
in subcontinent. In South Africa, what did he do? We didn't take 20 wickets.
In South Africa, we finished a game in 1.5 days and won.
As in like the drawn test, we didn't take 20 wickets. The
South
test
Africa,
we
we
lost.
no
The
draws
test we
happened.
lost. The test we lost. There are instances of him traveling overseas. The World Test Championship final. The things haven't.
But see, the problem with Gambhir is that when
Let me complete it. Let me complete it. When you
you
want to say that Nitish Reddy should have played ahead of Shardul Thakur, I don't agree with that. It was an aggressive move from the Indian team. Although they could have gone all out aggressive by playing a specialist bowler.
Yes.
Either a Kuldeep Yadav or a
Correct.
fourth pacer.
Correct.
But again, if you were worried when Rohit Sharma and Virat were not scoring runs, I needed a little bit of batting backup. Now with the very inexperienced top order, you still need a little bit of batting backup. I won't question this team selection for the first test. It's just that people didn't perform well. Prasidh Krishna and Siraj showed really good form in IPL. He was given a break. He was not picked for the Champions Trophy. It was not like they picked a random bowler and brought him in. He's a proven customer in England.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't do well, it's not the coach's problem. And this is also the start of the first test. These are not easy conditions to adapt. We always talk about, batters getting to adapt to these conditions. But bowlers also take time. So I think, yes, India could have won this match. India had the opportunity to, push England. But they disappointed. That's the thing. It's not like something we massively went off the mark with team selection. I think team selection in Australia was even worse. When you could have played Ashwin, you played Sundar. When you wanted to play Akashdeep, you played Harshit Rana. When it was a pitch suited for Harshit Rana, you played Akashdeep. So these were the concerns that were there.
Same argument can be made here also, but you are for some reason defending that Shardul selection. The problem is that
Shardul selection is not the problem. His
it
performance is the
is.
problem.
No, it is because again I keep coming back to continuity. The second India picked Sai Sudarshan at number 3, the problem started because you had to fit Karun Nair. Karun Nair has been sensational in Ranji season. Now you can't put him at 3. So you put him at 6. You already have that extra cushion of a batter. But then you want the bowling, like you said, to support him. Shardul comes in. I thought the playing 11 would have been the openers, Karun at 3, Pant, Gill, whatever. And then Dhruv Jurel at 6. And you don't pick Prasidh if you wanted to go with bring a bowler who can give you control like Akashdeep, or you bring in a spinner because the match was going to go 5 days. That was said by the pitch curator before day 1. The selection has been wrong. It's not the performance. Shardul kya karega flat pitch mein? Tell me one test match where Shardul has done exceptionally well where the deck has been flat.
No, see, if you're a fourth bowler and the fifth bowler, your job is not to pick wickets.
तो शार्दुल तो control के लिए भी नहीं जाना
Your
जाता
job
ना.
is to go for control, which he offered in 2021-2022 series.
In seam index.
Yes, but what about now? The question is, see, like how Kingshuk said, continuity is a main thing. And in that aspect also, Nitish Kumar Reddy has been a consistent performer. He did well. It's not like, okay, he was also brought in from an IPL experience. His IPL was not great. His IPL was not great at all.
But the thing is, he didn't bowl in the IPL. And he
he
had
was
those
carrying some
issues.
injury. He was carrying
He
some
had
injury.
those issues.
But if you are going to use Shardul Thakur very scarcely, why not bring in a Nitish
just
Kumar
bring in the batter.
See, that's something that could have been worked well. Like he said, it's the captain's instinct that he chose, Ravindra Jadeja over Shardul Thakur.
Even if correct me if I'm wrong also on this aspect. Let me just say it. Why would you bring in a hit the deck bowler like Prasidh for this match? Yeah. I felt we needed something different. If you look at the England team, are there big time hit the deck bowlers in that? I didn't even rate the England bowling lineup also. To be very honest.
Yeah, coming into this test match, I did not rate the England bowling lineup at all.
At all. The whole thing is that did you really need a Prasidh Krishna in this? Because what I've seen with Prasidh is he's more of, even when you say it as a hit the deck bowler, he's more of a confidence bowler also. When he's fully confident, he can do a lot of things with the ball. I think it was an England game where he kind of changed the complexion of that game. It was an ODI game. He was going for runs, but then the second spell, he kind of broke the game open. Here, he was constantly going for the same thing. I think you and me, we were covering the game. I think he was bowling to Jamie Smith. He got hit for a 6. And our reaction was, why are you trying to do the same thing over and over again when it is not working? Finally, he got the wicket of Jamie Smith. Yeah. But when you are having a spell where you're conceding 6, more than 6 in an over, for an over in an innings across both the innings. That is really baffling. And I thought for the large part yesterday, when I was watching the game, the whole thing was, I thought, okay, Bumrah and Siraj were bringing in control. The moment that Shardul and Prasidh specifically came in, we might be targeting him a little bit more. Yeah, granted that he's still a youngster, but you need to think on your feet. When you are playing in England, you're not playing you don't have the comfort of home. When you're playing in a country like England or Australia, you need to think on your feet. What makes Bumrah so special? It's because he thinks on his feet. So at that point in time, none of the other bowlers did the same thing. An experienced campaign, like one of the things that I have a bit of a problem with was the fact that why did other senior players not go up to a guy like, Prasidh and tell him ki, this is what you have to do. It's not just the job of the captain to do it. Captain, again, we say that Shubman is a young captain. Why not a KL Rahul? Why not a Ravindra Jadeja? Why not a Bumrah? Or why not a Siraj? Okay.
Siraj was there. I saw him. But maybe that was the reason.
Maybe that was the reason.
Yeah.
But you need to motivate that guy to do better. Like say that your hit the deck thing is not working here.
Yeah.
Try to bowl the line that Bumrah is bowling.
This has been a problem ever since Bharat Tarun left, is what I have figured out. Like the way the plans, you devise a plan, but then you stick to it even if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's no quick on the feet, on the go thinking that you pointed out. Because in Australia, in that 2021 series where Rahane captained, I still remember there were so many plans. There was a leg slip plays, there was a short cover, there was bouncer theories. When did you... So Jamie Smith got out while playing the bouncer in the first innings. There was no bouncer attempted to that man in the second innings. You couldn't get the bouncers...
Harry Brook, first innings.
You couldn't get the bouncer theory going for Ben Duckett also. Ben Duckett gave one chance to SHV Jaiswal, but you still persisted bowling that off-stump line, sometimes bowling it wide. There was no, real plan when it comes to... Yes, I understand that probably this is a setup that is still gelling. But these are basics. Like you pointed out, they are playing professional cricket. Like Kingshuk tomorrow comes and says, okay, I have been in this industry for 6 years. So I cannot, if we give him a sensational interview where he could not do well, it's okay. But if you can't do the basics right, then there's a problem, right? That's something that baffled me because there was no real bowling plan when England were going hammer and tongs. In fact, in the first session of day 5, when Ben Duckett and Zach Rowley were playing, they did not do baseball. They gave India a lot of respect. I thought probably they are doing a mistake by, eating up time, because time was also an important factor with the weather around. But our bowling was completely listless, even Bumrah for that matter. You might call it fatigue and all that, but in the second innings, he was toothless. Let's call a spade a spade.
I think
in a couple of spells,
first spell I think
good.
he was sensational.
After that, he wasn't even trying to bowl full. Hit the length, bowl the straight line. If you're the leader of the bowling attack, probably you should also, conjure plans. You should also go tell the captain that, okay, give me that fielder. I need things to happen. But of course, when you're not having control, when you're leaking runs, like 6-7 runs and over, it's not like they were taking singles. They were finding boundary every over. So that then it becomes a little bit difficult. But on the whole, I would still say that it's just the first test of the series. It's just the first test with a new team.
Of course.
Probably let's not react by, yes, Prasidh Krishna did not bowl well, but he's here in the dressing room for a reason. He has shown that he can do well. In the Perth test, he did well. But I couldn't understand one thing that Gambhir said yesterday in the press conference about this fast bowling group. He said it's not that we are looking for this tour. We are looking to build a pace battery that will serve the team for ages. Of course. Even if you see in the 2014-15 series, Ishant was there, Shami was young, Umesh was there, but they were all at their early stages of their career where they couldn't do well. But Virat, in a way, he was very good with his fast bowlers, and in a way he was lucky also that their prime met with his captaincy. Bumrah is a generational talent. From day one in Test cricket, he has been sensational. Shami peaked. There was a time in England when Shami used to beat the outside edge, but never used to pick up wickets. But that changed in 2021-22. Umesh Yadav was sensational under Virat. Ishant, who had consistently had troubles in overseas conditions. Under Dhoni, he was a passenger. But his prime came under Virat Kohli's captaincy. So is there merit when Gambhir says this group should be persisted with?
एक बात बताओ मेरे को. So he's picked a group, right? So let's say Bumrah and
That's
Siraj,
my- yeah.
they have been servants of Indian cricket for a very,
Very long
long time now. ठीक है. You picked Arshdeep Singh.
Yeah.
Who asked you to pick Arshdeep Singh?
Yeah.
Who asked, like, based on like a couple of county games last season, who asked you to
And a
pick
very
Arshdeep
good
Singh?
domestic season.
No, domestic
Duleep Trophy.
This is not the first time that Arshdeep has a sensational
So
domestic
that's
season.
when you need you're identifying bowlers, right? You could have easily asked the same question to Ravi Shastri. Who the hell picked? Why did you pick Bumrah for Test cricket? He was labelled a white ball bowler. Although Bumrah had good domestic.
He was
stats,
labelled a
first-class
white
stats.
ball bowler because people saw him in IPL.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
That's also the kind. You're also saying that Rashid, this is not the first time Rashid has had a good season.
I've already said, exactly. But aren't there bowlers who have played Test cricket who offer value in seeming conditions of
Okay, name
England?
one good left arm pacer who can.
Left arm तो है ही नहीं हमारे पास.
That's why that is
Gurjapneet
the
Singh is your
variation that they are going
best
for.
hope.
Probably that is the variation that they are going for.
ठीक है, okay. We have two hit the deck bowlers in our squad right now, Prasidh Krishna and Harshit Rana. Why? Harshit Rana did not have a sensational
The Harshit
season.
question has been answered by Gambhir in
Batao.
the presser after
What-
Leeds
what did
test.
he say?
which is the
He
same
said
thing that
there
promise.
was a niggle in the squad,
Ah.
which is why we picked him as a cover.
Cover.
Now that the niggle is over, we might send him back. But I have to talk to the selectors whether
But
we want to send
even-
him back
even-
or
So Mukesh you
that
could
clearly
not bring.
says
Mukesh you could not bring.
that clearly says he's not going to be in the plan. So Gambhir has this liking for Harshit. Probably he seen something in him, so he's giving him time with the squad.
But
But my question is, as in, like, sorry to interrupt you there. My question is, there was Mukesh Kumar who did well. There was Anshul Kamboj who did well.
Yeah.
So these guys
Anshul
aren't-
Kamboj bowled sensationally in the tour games.
Lions game.
Yeah.
By the way,
But
Both games.
let's not jump that gun. Also, they were not part of the 18-man squad initially.
they were
Still,
not.
you
But
can
that's why
still
you
call
sent
him
them
as a
on an
cover,
8 tour,
right?
right?
Yeah.
That's why they prepped there.
Yeah.
So it's
See,
just confusing for me.
We've talked. I think we've talked about it. That how in our conversations that how India has prepared so well in coming into this series. They came here 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
They played 2 practice matches. I think everybody was happy.
Yeah. For the first time, I think some of the A-listers also played these A games.
Yes.
Like KL, Karun.
KL. I think close to 6 or 7 people were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now all these preparations are done, everything is sorted, but then when it comes to the match, you're making those crucial errors. I think, see, in a couple of days' time, I think I'll forget about this loss.
Yeah.
It does not matter. Like, you look at the grand scheme of things. You're like, okay, there are 4 more matches.
Yeah. Saturday, in a couple of days, Saturday will come. Saturday evening will come. Of course, everybody will forget that loss.
But the fact of the matter is, like you said, this was a game that we could have won. This is not an England team that is going to be world beaters or are going to the WTC final. This is a team that could have been easily picked apart. Now you'll have Jofra Archer coming in. If he is coming in and he starts to bounce out your batters, then it becomes a whole different ball game.
Of course. And they are already reporting that Wood might be fit for 4 and 5.
एक और बात है क्या पता है?
And
So
Gus Atkinson is also there.
Yeah. Then this team gets an upgrade.
Yeah.
For us, it's about counting the number of matches that Bumrah will play. Okay, is it going to be the second test that he's going to get dropped? Or is it going to be the third
But
test that
Gambhir has clearly said that he is going to play
going to
only
stick
3
with the plan?
tests.
Yeah, fine. That is
But
okay.
we don't know how that happens because a player always has the say. If the player comes and says that no, I am
yeah, of
fit
course.
and I am going to play, what will Gambhir do about it?
Of course, but
Nothing.
if you're 3-0 down, then there's
And
no
then
point.
there is no point.
Bumrah
Point.
playing.
Yeah.
But as we have seen that whenever that happens, then also they force Bumrah into
Bumrah
the
into
game.
the-
No. To their credit, they did not force Bumrah after we went 0 down against New Zealand. 2-0 down against New Zealand. But I couldn't understand why he played those 2 tests against Bangladesh.
Yeah.
That kind of, I don't know, that kind of hampered the entire planning.
You could have actually
He missed the
that
Champions Trophy.
Bangladesh
Yeah.
series could have actually been your
Testing ground.
testing ground for most of these talents.
Yeah.
You could have used them.
But
It
that
was
was
not
Gambhir's first series. He didn't want to take a risk.
risk.
Yeah.
Then now
That
you're
kind of
left
thing.
with, like you're saying, building a pace battery is not going to be an easy thing.
Yes.
You need to ensure that these guys, at least a Harshit Rana. See, Harshit, for me, obviously I have that personal bias because of his KKR allegiance. But the fact of the matter is he's still very raw. You can see that in his game.
Yeah.
In Australia, he showed flashes of brilliance in that first Perth test. He got hit, then he came back, he took the wicket off Travis Head. He showed that aggression, which I like him.
on very spicy pitches of Australia.
Yeah. I like the fact that he's got that aggression, that attitude that can complement Bumrah in maybe a couple of years. But for now, let him build up the thing, right? You should have ideally, okay, Arshdeep, the whole argument comes in. This was a test that needed variety. A left-arm pacer could have, I'm not saying that he could have done any better than these guys, but at least it's something different than coming in, trying to hit the deck hard. Apart from a couple of variable bounces here and there, which KL Rahul obviously told in Tamil to Sai Sudarshan, there was nothing else on that track.
Okay, tell me, have you guys ever seen Arshdeep as a control bowler?
Yeah, of course. As in, even in T20 cricket, he is able to hit 6 deliveries at the same spot.
Mix mat karo.
My only thing is, Arshdeep, we cannot compare Arshdeep, Harshit and Prasidh. They have very different trajectories in their careers.
Yeah.
Harshit is still young, he is raw, he has talent, he has the pace. Prasidh has had plenty of injury concerns, on and off. He was once touted as, the next big thing. I still remember once we had a selection meeting in Bengaluru for which I went. MSK Prasad was a former chairman at that point of time, and he was somebody asked him the same question after Shami, Bumrah, who are there. Can you name a few pacers that you guys are scouting at? He said there's one Karnataka bowler called Prasidh Krishna. He's tall, he has the pace, and he has good skills to play all formats. So this was in 2016-17. So from then on, he has been being built up. The 8 years from there, he has had plenty of injury concerns. He has had his own moments. He has had his downfalls also. So that is Prasidh. Arshdeep is a bona fide superstar in white ball cricket. He has won your T20 World Cup. He has been part of that setup. So his confidence, we should take that into account. When Bumrah was so high, when Bumrah was a world beater in white ball format, it's always good to strike the iron when it's hot, right?
Exactly.
Bumrah was unleashed in South Africa. Not many expected that to happen. I think in the first test, they played him and he unleashed hell there. So why not do that with Arshdeep? When you can do that with Harshit, when you can do that with Prasidh, and like he pointed out, like we have all pointed out, the left arm variation that is there, right? That is very, 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 very important. Is what I think. But you know what, guys, before we, wrap up, I just want to ask one question. What was your first impression of Shubman Gill?
As a captain.
Captain, of course.
Lots to learn. I think one of the biggest things the positives that I saw was the fact that how he took up the number 4 role. That was brilliant to watch. That I always expected him to become a number 4 batter. While he was opening, while he was at number 3, I thought he will find that comfort at number 4 once Kohli is done. Because everybody has been saying that he is the heir apparent to. Captaincy wise, I think he needs to be a little more proactive.
Yeah.
He needs to be on the, he has done that in the IPL. He was, whenever his team, when Gujarat Titans were playing, I could always see him be with the bowler, telling him what to do, what not to do, setting up things, maybe a little more proactive in that. And probably he needs to tell the seniors that, guys, I can't be always there at every point in time.
Yeah.
Just help out. Maybe a Bumrah might be a best guy to help out the bowlers.
Yeah.
Even a Siraj also, for that matter. A Bumrah can come out and help out Siraj and say that, bro, you need to bowl this, try this out.
Yeah.
Maybe he can, compartmentalize his departments a little.
Yeah.
Maybe a batting, we saw how KL Rahul managed Rishabh Pant. The first few moments of Rishabh Pant just went bang, bang. And then I think KL, even though he said you let him be, I think KL went and told him that, bro, just just manage it a little. I'll take a lot of the pressure, but you also try to pace your innings well. So you have a KL to guide those guys in the batting department.
But that happened during the fielding also, I think. I watched Siraj, KL, Jadeja set fields, bring mans, squarer, etc., etc. What I thought was so there's this one match in IPL this season where Shubman Gill had a scuffle with an umpire. I think kuch pad wad mein lag ke kaise. Oh, there was a run out attempt where the ball hit the glove and the glove hit the wicket and Shubman was given out. He went to the face of the umpire and he stared him down. He's like, explain me why I have been given out. In the same match later on, kuch ball ke saath hua tha. He once again went to the umpire, told him that, listen, this is my ground, behave. That's the Shubman I want in India captaincy.
You need aggression also.
I don't want that cheeky little Shubman on the sidelines, like you say, that divide responsibility. No.
Yeah, Prasidh
No. Mohammad Krishna, wo sab nahi chahiye mere ko. I want him to walk up to every single England batter, tell them, I am here. I'm going to conquer you guys. तीन गुना लगान वापस दे.
I think
Something
last
like
year
that.
he did that with Bairstow. When Bairstow went up and took offense to what he said to James Anderson and tried to kind of, ruffle up Shubman. Shubman said, I've scored 100. What have you done in this series?
Yeah.
What
I
have-
just want that aura Shubman back.
It's a high time that we get out of this Virat Kohli hangover. We have one series without such
No,
type
but,
of
Akshay, the thing
such
is-
type of aggression. Also, there was an Ajinkya Rahane who did not do any of this and won you the biggest series that Indian
It was
cricket has
also a
had.
Bumrah-less series.
There was Bumrah was
there
not
wasn't.
there.
No, it was a series
Siraj
without
was your-
Bumrah.
yeah. So,
Imagine that.
So those are the things that I'm saying, and I like his composure, the way he was quite candid. He did not say, "Oh, we scored this much. The tail didn't." He can kind of acknowledge that the tail didn't do well and the catches went down. And he said, and even Gambhir said that. Let's give credit where it's due. He said that these are issues that we have, and hopefully we'll work on it. It's just the first test, and before the second test, hopefully we'll work on it. And see why we are wrapping up this without talking about the positives, without talking about the second test, which starts on July 2 in Birmingham, is that we'll have another episode for that separately. We'll discuss in details the changes that needed to be made, that needs to be made, and a little bit of England also, what they have done well in the last 2 years, especially at home, and why this might be an insurmountable series. In the meanwhile, in this week, probably we can expect a piece from King Shuk explaining why India might win this series 4-1. So stay tuned for that.
Or England 5-0.
We'll
I don't know.
share that link soon with you. But for now, we are signing off. That's it from this for the second episode of the third season. You can send in your feedback on 8588 966 996. If you have thoughts about what went wrong in the first test and whether Gambhir needs to be blamed and what can Shubman Gill and his co do better in the second test, you can send in your thoughts here. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcast and Spotify, please do rate us. And like we always say, if you're watching us on YouTube, please leave your comments. We'll be more than happy to learn your feedback. And we are very happy that the comments have started rolling in for the season 3. There are a few interesting comments. Thanks to King Shuk, we got a bit of brick bats as well when he picked 7 frontline pacers, 1 wicket keeper, and then 2 all-rounders in 11 for the first test.
Sure,
Keep them coming. We'll be more than happy to learn your feedback. Thank you. Have a great week.